I'd like to give you my reflections on a couple of issues that have been in the news in a dramatic way over the past couple of weeks, and just give you my take on them. Let's take the casino first. Casino vote passed overwhelmingly, with citizens coming out and saying they're in favor of a casino project in New Bedford. I had no doubt that that would happen. I have had no doubt about that going back into the early 90s regarding that. We're looking for opportunities for jobs, taxes, and for economic development growth. So the casino itself represents that, certainly, or did represent that, certainly. But the fact is that if the market conditions were not appropriate, for whatever reason, whether it was the timing, whether the host agreement was arrived at too late to allow for KG to be out there finding the financial backing that it needed, or if it was the fact that the casino itself, from the standpoint of the region that we're in, Region C, and the fact that the Indian casino has a shadow over Region C, and the fact that there's an indefinite aspect of the Springfield casino or the casino up in Everett, perhaps the timing is wrong. I don't think it reflects on New Bedford. It certainly doesn't reflect on the people of New Bedford. So when KG said they were abandoning New Bedford, I found that to be extremely derogatory. The city of New Bedford did everything it possibly could to give KG the opportunity. The timing may not have been right. You can't negotiate a host agreement in 2 weeks. The Mitchell administration put itself in a situation where there wasn't a lot of time before the deadline, but the host agreement was done, and the vote was taken, and the timing all was appropriate for KG to present its financials to the Gaming Commission. And the fact that they were unable to do it has nothing to do with you, me, or anyone else. That happens to do with the industry, that happens to do with KG, that happens to do with financial markets, that happens to do with the fact that the casino bill itself set up these stages, and the stages perhaps have not been appropriate from the standpoint of moving ahead with an idea and getting the market behind it. There'll be other opportunities for New Bedford. Each day there are opportunities that come to New Bedford. Anyone who knows anything about New Bedford and believes in New Bedford has complete faith that we will move forward. But let me give a little bit of advice here, something that I believe very firmly. You create a local economy, job by job, business by business. You have to pay attention every day to your business climate, to what the businesses need to succeed, your tax base, your infrastructure, your cleanliness, everything that's needed, your job training, everything that's needed to present an atmosphere where businesses can thrive, whether it's a business with a couple of employees or the scope of a factory or the scope of a casino. You have to pay attention to the details. And the idea that every time we turn around, we've got another person coming into town like the Music Man, or someone willing to take the shot at a Hail Mary pass, does not move our economy forward the way it should. We need to move away from the oceanariums, we need to move away from the casinos, we need to move away from the next great idea and focus on the local economy. If we're going to get a major project, we should always welcome it, we should do everything we can to foster it. But the idea somehow that everything's going to be cured or that we've got the next great opportunity, we ought to keep everything in perspective. If you understand business, if you understand how businesses grow, you know it's the little things that count. It's the timing that counts. It's the friendliness that counts. It's the dialogue that counts. It's the communication that counts. It's the follow-up that counts. And the idea that somehow in 2 weeks this was all going to happen, that's not the way it works. So as far as the casino goes, we gave them a great opportunity. For whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. That's a tremendous piece of property. There are plenty of resources to develop it, to clean it up, and it will happen. We had a delay of about 10 years as a result of the idea casino-itis. We lost Revere Copper and Brass because of casino-itis and a speculative option on it. We lost 10 years worth of time down at the power plant, Canyon Street, the N-Star site, because of basically 10 years of an option. So now let's roll our sleeves up, work with the property owners, work with what is feasible, work with Chapter 91, by the way, which is designated port area that this lies in, and make sure that we comply with the law. Great things are going to happen down there. So I would not in any way despair. I would not be in a situation where somehow we're in a sullen period of mourning here. It's time to get up and keep moving. As far as the 2024 goes, it was flattering that 2024 came down and first flirted with us about the possibility that we could be a great rowing or sailing site. We already knew that. And we also knew that unless 2024 expanded its outreach, they were going to be, first of all, in a situation where they're trying to do a very insular Boston Olympics, which would never have worked, as we can see. And if they didn't expand it into the state, they were going to lose the state's attention on this thing as well. So I'm very grateful that they came down and said this would be a great sailing facility. We already know that. We all sail. We understand that. We swim, we sail, we fish, we boat. We know that. We're from a waterfront community that's been involved in the water for 350 years or more. So we understand we have the best fishing. We understand that we have the best wind, but probably on the East Coast. Buzzards Bay is a protected ocean. I mean, it's a tremendous place. So the idea that we were named as a possible venue puts us on the map. That's a great thing. 2024, we all feel badly about, because we all love the Olympics, and that would have been a great project. But it's not a great project unless there's complete transparency in anything you do, whether it's a local city government, the state government, or whether it's a quasi-public organization like 2024 became. You have to explain to people exactly what the risks are, what the benefits are, where the money's going to come from. It's got to be transparent. It has to be inclusive. And unfortunately, 2024 being, a lot of good people involved who I know very well, but they could not, on a day-to-day basis, explain to people how this was going to be a project that was not going to end up costing the taxpayers of the state a fair amount of money. And the fact is, we don't want our tax money going only to Boston anymore. We don't want that belt around Boston benefiting from the money that we send up to the State House. We want it spread around the state. We want our share of infrastructure. We want our share of improvements. We want our share of economic development. So 2024 was a great exercise. It's occupied the first 6 months of the Baker administration. So between snow, 2024, and different crises, the governor has really kind of been saddled down. And now I'm hoping to see great strides from the Baker administration as they come out from this budget period and get moving and working with people, working with Republicans, Democrats, Independents throughout the state. The interesting thing is we have South Coast Rail on the burner. I've advocated over and over again that South Coast Rail should use existing rail and give us 3 trains in the morning, 3 trains in the afternoon, 3 trains at night, back and forth from Boston, connect through the Middleborough line, service Taunton, Fall River, and New Bedford. Now that we don't have 2020 in front of us, now that we don't have the snow in front of us, although before you know it, it will be snowing again, hopefully not as much as last year. Now that we don't have the budget fight in front of us or other items that the states had to deal with, hopefully we can get the governor, the speaker, and the Senate president together with our delegation and begin talking about how you begin to run rail like Worcester did it, like anywhere else in America does it, which is you use existing rail, you begin your service and your project, and then if demand warrants it, then you build additional rail capacity. But in the meantime, rail is something that's very easy to accomplish, and at the end of the year, we could have a headline that says, South Coast Rail moves forward in phase 1, which is New Bedford, Fall River, Taunton, over to the Middleborough line, and straight up to Boston. That would be a good headline, a much more solid headline than we may get the Olympics, or we may get a casino, or we may get Cape Wind, or whatever it might be. I'd like to see, let's start doing things that we actually can accomplish, step by step, increment by increment, paying attention to detail, doing the follow-up, building consensus, and moving forward. There's so many things we can accomplish if we work together. If we are constantly trying to come up with the smartest guy in the room's idea for the next great thing, we're never going to accomplish a thing. And again, if we're trying to gentrify this city, instead of building this city based on the tremendous foundation that we have, we're getting nowhere quick. So my resolution, mid-year resolution, is that we start accomplishing things for the New Bedford area, the greater New Bedford area, positive things that lead to job creation, expanded tax base so we can get the tax burden off of each individual and spread it out more clearly, that we end up doing things that are environmentally appropriate in this quest, and at the same time that we safeguard our kids and everyone that lives in this area. So those are my thoughts on the two major events that have taken place, the casino and the Olympics, both of which are great learning experiences, both of which are going to make us a heck of a lot more, hopefully, practical and hopefully realistic in moving forward, and realizing there are no easy answers, and no one is going to come down here with a magic wand and coat us all in gold. We have to work hard for it, so let's get back to that frame of mind.